What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great day. Today we are sitting in the Scion FRS, and I figured today would be a good time to answer a question I've been getting a lot from all fronts. Friends, family, internet, all of it. Why are you trading your Scion FRS for a Camry XSE V6? Now, ever since I started getting this question, I kind of thought about it and made some points along the way. And now we're putting a little video together just so everyone's on the same page. Now, I've had the Scion FRS, 2016 Scion FRS, since September 2016. And it's been a good car. I use it as a daily driver. I don't like to put a lot of miles on the Tundra. I don't really like the Tundra sitting in, the lot at work or stuff like that. I drive the Tundra a good amount, but overall, it's nice to have a daily driver I can rely on. Now, in being in this car for, almost 2 years, let's say more of a year and a half, there are definitely things I like and things I dislike about it. Then when I got the Camry XSE V6 to do some reviews on, I pretty much fell in love with that car, which I knew I would. Now, what I did was, before really told anybody the deal with anything, I just kind of said, what do you think of the Toyota Camry? I kind of polled everyone. And, most of you out there, especially if you're a Scion FRS or BRZ fan, you think of the Toyota Camry as something to get from point A to point B. Kind of like a family car, not a fun car at all. And that is what Toyota changed with the XSE V6, just in case you don't know what it is. It's a really sported out version of the Camry. It's an over 300 horsepower engine. It's like 270 torque. It's unbelievable. And guess what, guys? I drove it. It handles great. There's paddle shifters. It's just a lot of fun in a car. Not to say the FRS is not fun. I just feel like I've kind of outgrown it a little bit. But what I'm going to give you is a couple points along the way and then a little explanation with each point. So like I said, I use the FRS as the daily driver. Well, that kind of leads to my first point. Number one, the Camry is a more comfortable daily driver. Now, two things with this car. Number one, the suspension is a little bit rough. When you're driving down the road, it's definitely pretty bouncy. And for a short ride to and from work every day, it's not that big of a deal, but it is far from comfortable in my opinion. The wife and I took this on a 3-hour-long road trip once, and when we got out, it was like, let's look up a local chiropractor, because the thing it beats you up. And like I said, it's a momentum car. It's meant for the track, so I understand what I bought and everything, but it's definitely something to note. The Camry is obviously way heavier, longer wheelbase, and just a nicer suspension for your everyday driving, because at the end of the day, it is a Camry. Sure, it's a sported up edition of the Camry, but it still rides nice over the road like a Camry should. So you're getting more power, you're getting great handling like this car offers, but you're also getting a nice smooth ride. So the next one on my list is features. Scion FRS, great car to get from point A to point B for sure. Fun car to drive, but it really lacks, well, pretty much anything. It's pretty much very basic. And it's a driver's car. It's, like I said, meant for the racetrack. It's great for a Sunday driver to take up on the mountain road and have a great time with, that kind of a thing. But there's really not much to it. It's basic, run-of-the-mill. You get your tachometer. Thankfully, it has a touch screen in it to set your, radio up and your Bluetooth. It has no satellite radio whatsoever. It's pretty basic car. Now, the Camry is loaded, especially for me being in a Tundra that, is kind of synonymous with not having a ton of features in it. Although I have a Platinum Tundra, so it has a lot more in it than usual. The Camry has pretty much everything. Push button start, a great sound system with like 10 speakers in it. It has a panoramic moonroof, the whole roof. It literally is loaded to the teeth, just everything you could think of. Auto up-down windows all the way around. It's just insane the amount of stuff they put in that Camry. So obviously, though, you got to remember this, the price point. I haven't forgotten about this. The price point is different. So this car that we're sitting in right now, roughly a $28,000 car. XSE V6, about 40 grand. So obviously you're gonna get more. This definitely is good for the money. But you know, at the end of the day, features are gonna win, you know, every day when it comes to the Camry. So the next thing on my list, and I'm going to explain it after I say it, but the FRS lacks power. And you know, it's not meant to be a straight line car in any way, shape, or form, but overall it just really lacks, you know, torque, low gear power. Again, I know what I bought, it is what it is, but I really gotta bring it up. If I'm comparing these two cars together, you know, the Camry is very quick off the line, has a lot of torque, it has a lot of power for the weight of the vehicle. This car could use about 50 more horsepower and it would be all set. And not necessarily turbo, it could be naturally aspirated, but it just needs a little more power. When you put your foot down on the pedal, you don't feel that like instant gain of power. It just kind of feels like it, I don't even know how to explain it. It's almost like just something's missing in the torque a little bit. But yeah, that is a big one for me. Overall power in just general settings. I'm not saying driving it like a maniac, just in everyday driving. You know, especially if you're on the highway and say you're doing 70 miles an hour and a car, you know, gets in front of you and is going slower, and you get off the pedal and you get down to 55, and then you put your foot back on the pedal to get back up to 70. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. It takes a while to get back up to 70. It doesn't just jolt you right back up there. So that's definitely something I gotta note. You know, it's one of those things that the FRS, and this is a thing that people have been talking about forever, the FRS needs more power. So the next thing on my list, and I'm not afraid to say it, is I feel like the FRS is just too young for me. And I mean that in a couple different ways. Number one, the car is extremely low to the ground, so getting in and out is kind of a pain. Number two, it's very popular among the, you know, the younger tuner car guys, which is awesome. It's definitely a cheaper car as far as price, and there's mods forever for this thing. You can get them all over the place, and to be honest with you, I think it's awesome. But for me, I'm older, I don't really do the tuner thing at all, so it's kind of just out of my element at this point. You know, I want to drive to and from work and listen to music or go jogging and whatever, and just you know, just drive the car. But you get people coming up next to you and they want to, you know, street race and all that with it, and I'm just beyond that. One of my favorite parts about the Camry is that it's so much fun to drive the car, but if you look at it from the outside, and it does have a much more aggressive look to it than your normal everyday Camry, but if you look at it from the outside, it says Camry on the outside. No one's gonna mess with you. It's kind of just one of those like sleeper style cars where, you know, I could drive wherever I want without catching even a second glance from anybody, but I know it has 300 horsepower and it's a lot of fun to drive, so when I want to drive it spiritedly, I can without catching the attention of everyone around me. So those are just some of the reasons why I'm trading in the Scion FRS for the Camry XSE V6. I just need something a little more practical of a daily driver. You know, obviously I'm married, you know, we're thinking about kids, so I want something that's going to be more suitable for children. You know, the FRS doesn't really have a back seat per se, so this car can go to someone who's going to have a great time with it. Like I said, it's a cheaper car. There are a ton of mods for it. You could do whatever you want to do with it. Wheels, tires, suspension, wings, whatever, exhaust, all that stuff. There's a ton of stuff for this. You know, where I'm going as far as the daily drivers, I'm never gonna want a car that's just a plain Jane car, and that's why I feel like the XSE V6 is perfect for me. 301 horsepower Camry. It's practical, but it's also a great time and fun to drive. That was the biggest thing I got out of driving that car. It was so much fun to drive. For me personally, it was more fun to drive than this FRS. And then again, the best part about it is I look back in the back seat and everything is like, oh look, I could fit a whole family in here. Oh look, it has everything I would ever want in this car. Again, $10,000 price point difference pretty much. So, you know, you kind of get what you pay for. The thing is loaded with everything you could ever want, but this car is just perfect for the younger buyer, in my opinion. It gets you from point A to point B. You look good. This car gets more looks than any car I've ever owned almost. I mean, the Tundra gets a lot of looks, but as far as cars I've owned, this car gets a lot of looks. It's really good looking, and you know, it's kind of a blank canvas to some people. If you put your mind to it, you can turn this thing into whatever you want. So it's definitely perfect, in my opinion, for the younger buyer. But for me, I'm on to bigger things, so I'd love to hear what you guys think about the Camry XSE V6. I'm guessing a lot of you watching this video don't even know what it is. Well, if you don't know what it is, at the end of this video, I'll throw a couple pictures up to show you what I'm thinking of. Still haven't locked the deal down, still working with the dealer. Because I already have the Tundra, you know, there's only a certain amount of money I want to spend on a second car. So, you know, there's no 100% I'm getting this Camry, but, you know, I'm actively trying. So anyway, let me know what you think below. I'd love to hear from each side of the coin here. Twitter and Instagram at Tundra234. You guys have a great day, and thank you for watching.